Last summer, I managed to completely eliminate a 4-year aphid and ant infestation from my brassica bed in just under 9 days, using a powder that cost me barely $2 at the grocery store. That bed had been devastated every single spring without fail. I tried neem oil, I tried insecticidal soap, I tried removing pests by hand, I even released ladybugs. Nothing lasted. Then I reached for a small white container of boric acid, combined it with sugar and warm water, and the entire colony that had been cultivating those aphids vanished within a week. What truly caught me off guard came next. When I began researching why this solution had essentially disappeared from common knowledge, I discovered that boric acid had been quietly restricted or heavily regulated for outdoor garden use across 19 states, caught up in pesticide registration requirements that most backyard growers never even encounter. And yet, that same powder has been relied upon for pest control for well over 1,000 years, tracing back to Tibetan borax miners as far as the 8th century. Here is a brief history because understanding it matters for how we actually apply this. Borax was extracted from dry lake beds in Tibet as far back as the 8th century. Tibetan traders carried it across the Himalayas into Persia and eventually into Europe, where it served countless purposes, from preserving meat to cleaning wool to eliminating insects. By the 1800s, borax deposits were being mined in Death Valley, California, and processed into boric acid, a finer, purer, and more concentrated powder. Then, during the 1940s and 50s, agricultural researchers, including teams at Purdue University and the United States Department of Agriculture, conducted field trials. Their findings were striking. Boric acid at very low concentrations, somewhere between 1 and 5% in a sugar bait, eliminated entire ant colonies within 7 to 10 days. It worked by disrupting the insect's digestive system and degrading its exoskeleton from within. And because it is a mineral rather than a nerve agent, insects cannot develop resistance to it the way they do with synthetic pesticides. So why has this knowledge faded? The answer is straightforward. Boron is a micronutrient naturally present in soil, but in large quantities, it can accumulate and damage plants. State regulators, concerned about large-scale agricultural misuse and potential groundwater contamination, quietly revoked outdoor pesticide registrations across many states. The product remained legal for indoor ant traps. But the garden applications, the ones those old extension bulletins documented in detail, were buried. Home gardeners working with teaspoons were never the problem regulators had in mind. Yet the knowledge disappeared along with the registrations. Now let me walk you through exactly how I use it. The first thing to understand is that two powders are commonly confused, and mixing them up will undermine your results. Borax is sodium tetraborate, the laundry aisle product in the familiar green and white box. Boric acid is the refined version, a finer, purer powder sold for roach and ant control in hardware stores and online. For garden pest work, you want boric acid, not borax. A 1-pound container costs roughly $2 to $4 and will easily carry you through 3 full growing seasons in a backyard garden. Look for a label reading 99% boric acid, technical grade. Avoid anything containing added fragrances, repellents, or unspecified carriers. You want the plain white powder and nothing else. Here is exactly how to build the bait that ended my ant problem. This is the sugar water method, and it remains the single most effective use of boric acid for outdoor pest control. Its effectiveness comes down to ant biology. Ants actively farm aphids. They relocate them, shield them from natural predators like ladybugs, and feed on the sugary honeydew those aphids produce. If you only eliminate the aphids you can see, the ants will bring in replacements within a day. You have to dismantle the colony itself. The recipe I use is straightforward. 1 cup of warm water, 3 tablespoons of white sugar dissolved completely, and 1 teaspoon of boric acid powder stirred in until it fully disappears. That produces a 1% solution, low enough that worker ants carry it back to the nest before it affects them. and that is precisely what reaches and eliminates the queen. Soak cotton balls in the mixture and place them in small, shallow lids, such as the caps from a peanut butter jar. Position those lids on the soil near ant trails, tucked beneath a rock or a piece of wood, to prevent rain from diluting them and to keep children and pets from interfering. Plan for 3 to 4 stations per raised bed. Within roughly 48 hours, you will notice a dramatic increase in ant activity around the stations. That is not a setback. It is confirmation that the process is working. They are carrying the bait home. By day 7 to 9, the trails will have gone quiet, and the aphids, stripped of their protectors, will collapse under natural predator pressure. The next method is the dusting technique, designed for direct contact with soft-bodied pests. For squash bugs, cucumber beetles, earwigs, and cutworms sheltering at the base of plants, I apply the dry powder directly. Take roughly a 1/4 teaspoon of boric acid and dust it lightly around the base of the plant stem. Never on the foliage, and never near flowers where pollinators are active. A small plastic squeeze bottle with a narrow tip, the kind commonly used in kitchens for sauces, makes this application simple and precise. The powder adheres to insect exoskeletons and disrupts their outer waxy coating, causing dehydration over 24 to 72 hours. The conventional approach involves spraying a broad-spectrum insecticide that kills pollinators, beneficial predators, and soil organisms alongside the intended target. The approach I'm describing involves the precise placement of a targeted mineral exactly where pollinators do not go. The difference in what your garden looks like afterward is significant. Reapply after heavy rain as moisture disperses the powder. In a typical season, I apply the dust no more than 4 or 5 times throughout the entire growing period. The third method is the perimeter barrier, and this is how you intercept invasions before they begin. Along the outside edge of each raised bed, I lay a thin, dry line of boric acid powder, approximately 1/8 of an inch wide, set about 2 inches in from the wooden frame. This creates a mineral boundary that ants, slugs, and earwigs will not cross once they have made contact with it. 1 pound of boric acid will cover the perimeter of roughly 8 4x8 raised beds. The reason this works, and why experienced gardeners once relied on it instinctively, is that insects must physically cross that line to reach your plants. As they do, the powder clings to their legs and bodies, and they don't survive the encounter. Keep the line dry, apply it on a clear morning, and reapply after any rainfall exceeding a 1/4 inch. In warmer planting zones, roughly 7 through 10, where ant pressure is intense and year-round, reapply every 3 to 4 weeks throughout the growing season. In cooler zones, 3 through 6, a single application in spring and another at midsummer is generally sufficient. The fourth consideration is soil protection, because this is where most people go wrong. Boron is a plant micronutrient. Your vegetables require it, but only in trace amounts. Excess boron leads to yellowing leaves, stunted development, and, in serious cases, plant death. The principle I follow is non-negotiable. Never work boric acid into your soil. It goes on the surface, in targeted locations, in bait stations, or along perimeters. It never gets tilled in. Follow that rule consistently, and the total amount of boron reaching your soil throughout an entire season amounts to a fraction of a teaspoon spread across a full bed, well below any level that would negatively affect your plants. The fifth and final element is protecting your beneficial insects. Do not place bait stations near flowering plants where bees are active. Do not dust anything currently in bloom. Work at dusk or in the early morning when pollinators are least present. Always shield your bait stations with a rock, a tile, or an inverted flower pot with a small opening cut into the side so that pollinators cannot accidentally wander in. Now let me address the most common mistakes, because I made every single one of them myself. The first pattern, and I repeated it for years, is targeting aphids directly without addressing the ants. You reduce the visible population, feel encouraged, and within 4 days they have returned, because the colony is still operating and restocking. The old approach always targeted the farmer, not the crop. The second pattern is mixing up borax and boric acid. People read something online, grab the laundry borax, dissolve it into sugar water at far too high a concentration, and kill the worker ants before they can transport it back to the nest. The colony remains intact. You want a slow-acting solution, not a fast one. 1%, not 10. The third pattern is excessive application. More is not more effective. Applying tablespoons of boric acid around a tomato plant will damage the plant. This knowledge was lost because the original extension bulletins provided precise measurements. When those bulletins went out of circulation, people began guessing. Guessing with minerals produces poor outcomes. The fourth pattern is applying during rain or heavy dew. Boric acid must remain dry to function as both a contact dust and a perimeter barrier. If rain is forecast for that afternoon, wait. Work with the weather rather than against it. Now here is the bonus I promised you at the beginning. The single discovery that elevated my results from solid to genuinely remarkable. While working through those old Tibetan borax trade records, I came across references to a paste that traders used. Not simply powdered borax and water, but borax combined with a dense, unrefined cane sugar. In India, it is known as jaggery. In North America, the most accessible equivalent is blackstrap molasses. Here is what I now include in my standard bait recipe. 1 cup of warm water, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of boric acid, plus 1 tablespoon of blackstrap molasses, stirred until fully dissolved. The reason this works is that ants and roaches are drawn to complex sugars and trace minerals far more powerfully than to plain white sugar alone. The molasses makes the bait roughly 3 times more attractive. In side-by-side tests I conducted in my own yard, colonies that required 9 or 10 days to collapse using the plain sugar bait were eliminated in 5 or 6 days once I introduced the molasses. Try it. That single adjustment is the difference between a bait station that performs adequately and one that empties by sundown. Here is where I want to leave you. Everything covered today, the bait, the dusting, the perimeter, the molasses addition, represents one layer of how I manage my garden on Primal Life. Last summer, that brassica bed, the one I had been losing every spring for 4 consecutive years, produced the heaviest kale harvest I have ever pulled from a 4x8 space. $2 of powder, a cotton ball, and a spoonful of molasses. That is the full equation. Tell me in the comments which pest is giving you the most difficulty this season, and I will share what has worked for me. See you in the next one.